Welcome, dear listeners, to Swoon Stories, where hearts entwine and destinies collide in the most unexpected ways. Tonight's tale will sweep you into a world of hope and heartbreak, reminding us that true love can endure even the most shattering of secrets. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to confront the ghost of your first love, only to discover she's standing right in front of you years later? May this story warm your soul and guide your heart toward the light. Let us begin. Ethan Calloway surveyed his palatial study, the spring breeze carrying faint blooms through half-drawn curtains. The faint scent of jasmine mingled with the sharp tang of leather-bound ledgers. He inhaled deeply, summoning the composure that had built his empire. Why does my chest feel so hollow? He wondered, tracing the rim of his crystal glass. Outside, the world hummed with promise. Yet within these walls, every accomplishment tasted of ash. The day's meeting loomed, a contract that would bind him to a stranger for reasons both professional and personal. Lila Hart stepped into the grand foyer of Calloway Manor. Her heels clicked against marble floors, echoing through the cavernous hall like a steady heartbeat. A light spring rain painted the stained glass windows with droplets of color. She paused, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. So much grandeur. Will I ever fit here? A sharp knock at the study door drew her forward. Come in. Ethan's voice called, cool, measured. Lila entered, her posture graceful yet guarded. She held a leather portfolio close, as if it were armor. Mr. Calloway, she said, inclining her chin. Her eyes, sharp and curious, studied him over the top of her temp ID, Ms. Hart, he replied, offering a brief nod. He motioned to a chair opposite his desk. Please, sit. She settled into the seat, crossing her legs at the ankles. The room fell silent but for the distant patter of rain and the soft hum of the central heating. Ethan unfolded the contract. The paper whispered against the mahogany as he slid it across toward her. This outlines your role as governess to my daughter. His tone was businesslike, his gaze unwavering. I expect professionalism and discretion. Lila's breath caught. Discretion? She echoed softly. He rose and circled the desk, placing a photo face-up between them. A smiling little girl with wide brown eyes. My daughter, he said. She needs stability. You will fill a void in her life. Lila flicked a glance at the portrait, then back at him. Unbidden, a hollow ache stirred in her chest, whispering of things long buried. Why do I recognize her? Ethan's jaw clenched. If you accept, sign here. He tapped a line in bold script. Lila lifted the pen, fingers trembling, as her signature curved across the page. Thunder rumbled outside, tinting the moment with portent. A fleeting spark passed between them, electric, suffused with memories neither would admit. It can't be, thought Lila, but she forced her hand steady. Welcome to Calloway Manor, Ethan said, voice gentler for a heartbeat. Then he masked it with his usual reserve. Tomorrow you start at dawn. Lila nodded, rising. The contract tucked under her arm, she backed toward the door. At the threshold, she turned. One question. Ethan's brow rose. Yes? Why me? Her voice quivered. He paused, the light catching scars at his temple. Because you're the only one I trust. That admission hung between them, soft as silk, sharp as glass. Later that night, in a guest suite scented with lavender, Lila undressed carefully. She caught sight of her reflection and froze. The face staring back was both familiar and foreign. A scar, long since healed, traced her collarbone, a mark she'd forgotten until now. No, this isn't possible. Memories snapped into place. Sunlit laughter in a rose garden. The taste of rain on summer skin. the warmth of a steady hand. Ethan's hand. A tremor coursed through her. She pressed a palm to the glassy window, watching the manor's shadowed silhouette against the stormy sky. Lightning flared, illuminating her face in brief, stark relief. He doesn't know. I can't tell him. Across the hall, Ethan lay awake, staring at the dark canopy of his bedroom. His daughter's soft breathing drifted through the hallway. He reached beneath his pillow, retrieving a faded photograph. A teenage girl with two shining eyes that belonged to Lila. His heart clenched with memories of a promise broken 10 years ago, when she vanished without a trace. His wedding dress lay in the attic, unworn, the hem stained with tears. "Where did you go, Lila?" he whispered into the darkness. Morning arrived on silent silver wings. Lila dressed in the nursery's morning glow, assembling toys with methodical care. She glanced at the crib where a pale figure stirred. When the baby's eyes fluttered open, Lila's breath hitched. The child blinked up at her, then smiled, and something in that smile cracked open a locked box in Lila's heart. She looked down, voice soft. "Good morning, sweet star." Footsteps sounded outside. Ethan appeared in the doorway, tie loosened around his collar, eyes unreadable. He examined the scene with the gaze of a general surveying a battlefield. "Everything all right?" he asked, voice low. Lila nodded, but her mind raced. "He's watching me. Can he see the truth in my eyes?" He stepped closer, the gap between them charged. His gaze flicked to her locket, a small heart etched in silver. Ethan's breath caught. The locket. Identical to one he'd given. But he swallowed the thought. They were bound now by contract and circumstance. As the sun climbed their forced union settled into an uneasy rhythm. Lessons for the child, meals in the grand dining hall, stolen glances that spoke volumes. Each moment swirled with unspoken history, a dance of proximity and distance. By midday, clouds gathered once more. A single drop of rain tapped at the window pane, like a finger demanding attention. Lila paused mid-step, mind flashing with a memory. That very knock on this same door 10 years earlier. A message of betrayal, a goodbye that had felt final. Her breath stuttered. She gripped the edge of a side table, knuckles whitening. He'll know soon. He'll see. Ethan entered the nursery again, finding her pale and still. Concern flickered across his face. "Are you all right?" he asked, placing a hand on her shoulder. Electricity shot through her. She inhaled, focusing on the solid warmth of his palm. "I will be," she whispered. He offered a small, understanding nod. "Then let's show your daughter she can trust both of us." Thunder rolled in the distance as they shared that fragile pact. Outside, the storm gathered force, lightning tracing the sky in jagged white, an omen of revelations to come. Dawn filtered through the nursery window in soft gold ribbons. Lila watched as her daughter's lashes fluttered open, revealing curious eyes that mirrored Ethan's. She felt a warmth bloom in her chest, tender and fierce. "She deserves all the love I can give," Lila thought, brushing a stray curl from the girl's forehead. Ethan hovered at the doorway, concern etched in the lines of his forehead. He stepped forward, his polished shoes whispering against the rug. "Is she?" he began, voice gentle. Lila smiled, rocking the child in her arms. "Sleeping peacefully now." He exhaled, relief softening his shoulders. "Thank you." Their eyes met, and in that silent exchange, Lila sensed the first stirrings of trust. Yet beneath the surface, currents of doubt began to swirl. Later that afternoon, Ethan escorted Lila through the marble halls to the business wing. She needed to learn estate protocols. His absence left a vacuum she was to fill. They paused before a heavy oak door. Inside, Shelves bowed under crates of ledgers and correspondence. "Here," Ethan said, handing her a stack of envelopes sealed, in black wax. "Bills, charitable donations, orphanage funds." Lila's brow furrowed. "You sponsor orphanages?" His gaze flickered away. "Anonymously. They need it more than I do recognition." She folded an envelope, tracing the wax. "Seal's emblem?" Such compassion hidden beneath steel. Her voice softened. "That's admirable." He nodded curtly, but a glint of something, gratitude perhaps, shone in his eyes. For a moment, the walls around him cracked, revealing the man beneath the CEO. Could I ever tell him who I really am? Lila wondered, heart heavy with longing and dread. Meanwhile, in a sleek penthouse downtown, Cassandra Vale stared at her tablet screen. The headline read, "Calloway Manor hires new governess," with Lila's photograph. Her lips curved into a cold smile. "So she thinks she can step into my place?" Cassandra's fingers danced across the screen, dragging files into a new folder labeled Exposé Hart. Fake letters, doctored medical records, whispers of scandal, all carefully crafted to dismantle Lila's reputation before she could settle into her role. Ethan will fall for her kindness, then I'll tear them both apart. At twilight, Lila set the table for Ethan and his daughter. The china gleamed under chandelier light. The aroma of rosemary chicken mingled with simmering gravy. Ethan returned, briefcase in hand, fatigue etched in his posture. He seated himself, clearing his throat. Before speaking, "Ms. Hart, Lila, would you join us?" She pulled out a chair. As they ate in polite silence, the only sounds were the clink of silverware and the daughter's occasional coo. Lila ventured a question. "How long have you managed the charity work?" He paused, swallowing. "Since before my brother's disappearance." His voice faltered. "I promised him I'd do more with our wealth." Her heart tightened at the mention of his brother. "I'm sorry," she whispered, pressing a hand to his. Ethan set down his fork, searching her eyes. "You're very kind, Lila." She felt the weight of his gaze, warm, curious, lingering too long. A flush crept across her cheeks. If only he knew the full truth. That night, as Lila prepared the child's bath, a knock sounded at the nursery door. She opened it to find a courier holding a manila envelope. "For Ms. Hart," he said, nodding once before turning away. Inside, she found copies of her medical records, stamped with a hospital she'd never visited, and a letter claiming she'd been committed for amnesia after a nervous breakdown. Her breath hitched. Panic prickled at her skin. "No, that's not real." Her hands trembled as she read. "They'll believe this." She crumpled the papers, disposing of them in the fireplace. Flames licked the edges, consuming the lies. Yet as she watched the embers glow, a single shred of paper floated free, smoke twisting its way into the shadows. The next morning, Ethan arrived early in the nursery. He found Lila seated on the rug, child's doll in hand, eyes distant. He knelt beside her. "Lila, what's wrong?" he asked. She looked up, tears brimming. "They're trying to destroy me." His jaw tightened. "Who?" Before she could answer, a maid entered, pale and breathless. "Sir, there's someone on the phone. Claims it's urgent." Ethan glanced at Lila, resolve hardening in his gaze. "Patch it through." The line crackled. Cassandra's voice, silk over steel, whispered, "I wouldn't trust her, Ethan. She's hiding more than just a past." Ethan's hand flew to the receiver. His daughter tugged his sleeve, looking between them with confusion. Lila's breath caught. He's hearing her lies first. Thunder rolled overhead as the first seeds of doubt took root in Ethan's heart. Late one evening, The manor's marble halls were hushed under a silver moon. Lila guided Ethan's daughter down the corridor toward her nursery, the child's slippers whispering against the polished floor. A distant crash, like thunder trapped indoors, shattered the stillness. Portraits quivered on the walls. A gust of cold air swept through the corridor. Something's wrong. Lila's heart slammed as she hurried ahead, finding the study door ajar. Inside, papers lay scattered across Ethan's desk. A lamp lay toppled, its brass base dented. Ethan burst in behind her, sharp breath misting in the chill. "Who's there?" They shared a glance heavy with dread. Before Lila could answer, a figure stepped from the shadowed alcove. Cassandra Vale, eyes glittering with triumph. "Surprise!" Cassandra purred, raising a slender hand. In it, a compact pistol. Ethan's daughter's soft cry came from the nursery beyond. Lila's blood ran cold. Cassandra's lips curved. "You didn't think you could keep her happy forever, did you, Ethan? Time to pay for your betrayals." She leveled the gun at Lila. Lila's breath caught. Ethan lunged, but Cassandra's finger tightened on the trigger. A deafening shot echoed. Crack! The lamp behind Cassandra exploded into shards of flame and wood. Smoke and sparks danced in the air. Lila dove forward, pushing Ethan's daughter behind the overturned desk. A bullet whined past her ear, tearing a jagged line through the wall. "I can't let her get hurt." Lila's pulse pounded as she scrambled for cover. Cassandra advanced, gun aimed. Ethan rose, fury blazing in his eyes. He charged, tackling Cassandra to the floor. The gun clattered across the rug as they grappled. Cassandra fought with frenzied strength, nails raking Ethan's cheek. He howled, driving her back. A second shot rang out, this time from the corridor. A masked intruder slipped through the broken window's shattered glass. "Freeze!" A harsh voice barked. Lila whipped around to see security uniforms, 2 men brandishing rifles. They circled, intent clear. Ethan's life or Lila's? Lila's gaze darted to her daughter's wide eyes peeking over the desk. Terror seized her. Without a thought, she threw herself from cover, arms outstretched. "Don't shoot!" she screamed. Bullets snapped overhead. Ethan lunged for her, but Cassandra's nails dug into his wrist, pinning him. The security guards hesitated, unprepared for the heroine's sudden shield. Smoke curled around broken glass. The scent of gunpowder stung Lila's nostrils. She positioned herself between Cassandra and the child, trembling, but unwavering. "If they want to hurt him, they'll have to go through me first." With a roar, Ethan broke free, catching Cassandra in a brutal headlock. Blood spattered from his cheek. Lila sank to her knees, clutching her daughter. Suddenly, a staccato of shots from the hallway, Cassandra's allies, returned fire. Splinters flew. Lila felt a searing pain in her shoulder. She gasped, the child slipping from her grasp. Time slowed. The daughter's porcelain face froze in midair before Ethan dove to catch her. Lila collapsed against the wall, pressure blooming in her chest. It can't end like this. Her vision blurred. The sound of Ethan's frantic calls for help faded into a distant echo. Her last coherent thought, "I would do it all again to save him." The world went black. Dawn's first light filtered through the shattered nursery window as doctors and security converged on Calloway Manor. Lila lay on a stretcher in the library-turned-triage room, her white blouse stained with blood and dust. Ethan paced beside her, knuckles white around the railing. Dr. Alvarez, head of the emergency team, emerged from the corridor. "Her vitals are stable," he announced, voice calm. "She lost a lot of blood, but she'll pull through. Administering a transfusion. Now," Ethan exhaled, sinking to his knees beside the stretcher. He took Lila's hand, cool beneath his warm grip. "You saved her," he whispered, voice thick. "You saved both of us." Lila's eyelids fluttered. She managed a faint smile. He knows now. Across the hall, Security Chief Marcus relayed findings to Ethan. The masked intruders were hired by Cassandra Vale, who'd fled the scene. Digital forensics had traced the call to her private line. Even Cassandra's own henchman had turned informant under pressure. Ethan's jaw clenched. Prepare the guards. Cassandra will face justice today. High atop the penthouse where Cassandra had once reveled in power, Detective Reyes and his team arrived, warrant in hand. Cassandra opened the door, hair mussed, makeup streaked from a restless night. Detective Reyes recited her charges: attempted murder, conspiracy, blackmail, and served the arrest warrant. Cassandra's facade cracked, her eyes, once cold and calculating, filled with frantic despair. "You can't do this," she hissed. "He belongs to me." "You belong behind bars," Reyes replied, cuffing her hands. As Cassandra was led away, burning with rage and humiliation, news of her arrest rippled through Calloway's social network. Headlines shifted from scandal to redemption. Governess heroine saves child, exposes villain's plot. Back in the Manor's sunlit salon, Lila reclined on the chaise, recovery moving steadily. Ethan entered, carrying a single white rose, its petals dusted with dew. He approached her quietly, bending to place the bloom beside her pillow. Lila's eyes fluttered open fully. She sat up, pain and relief mingling in her gaze. Ethan knelt on one knee at her side. "Lila Hart," he began, voice trembling. "You walked into my life a stranger, only to remind me of love's first light. You risked everything to protect my daughter and me. Will you stay by my side, not as an employee bound by contract, but as the woman who holds my heart?" Tears welled in Lila's eyes. She covered his hand with hers, voice soft. "Yes, Ethan. Calloway, I'll stay, forever." Ethan slipped a simple gold band onto her finger. It gleamed like a promise. Love forged through trials, sealed in sacrifice. In the grand hall 2 weeks later, Calloway Manor brimmed with soft candlelight and the hum of celebration. Friends, family, and charity beneficiaries gathered to honor the newest Calloway, the littlest one, whose first steps Lila and Ethan had witnessed together. Ethan stood at the podium, Lila by his side, their daughter sleeping peacefully in her mother's arms. "Today," he said, "we celebrate more than a union of hearts. We honor the truth that love is never simply found. It's fought for, sacrificed for, and nurtured in hidden kindness. Let our story remind you that even in darkness, a single act of compassion can illuminate the path to redemption." Applause rippled through the hall as the candles reflected on crystal chandeliers. Cassandra Vale, escorted by law officers, watched. From the gallery, her schemes undone by love's unwavering light. As music began, Lila leaned into Ethan's embrace. True love rises, even from ashes. Thank you for joining us on Swoon Stories. Did this story touch your heart? Share your favorite moment in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more tales of love's triumph. Until next time, may your own story be written in courage, kindness, and unwavering hope.